And then, of course, what happened on the 2nd of February 2002, the day we opened?
It rained.
I met my husband.
Ooh.
And then we got married on the 2nd of February 2008.
So welcome back. Today we have with us Briar Jacques, and we're going to speak about something very important. We're going to speak about mental health. Hi, Briar.
Hi, Peter. How you doing?
All good?
Yeah,
okay,
good.
so before we start, our signature.
Thank you.
Let's start. So basically, who is Briar?
Oh, that's a really deep and existential question for a Friday
The whole
afternoon.
episode is going to be very deep. So who is Briar?
So always changing, like all of us, right?
Okay.
So I'm from New Zealand, but I haven't been there for a long time. I lived in Dubai about 10 years. I started an organisation in City Walk called the Free Spirit Collective.
Okay.
So we are a mental health and emotional well-being centre. So we have psychiatry, psychology, coaching, personal development, children, adults, everybody. Mm-hmm. So me, myself, am a person that did everything upside down.
Okay.
So I did my training as a psychologist last.
Okay.
And first of all, yoga and meditation and this kind of approach to life, right? And then after that, many years actually after that, running an organic food business in Australia and doing, because I grew up in Australia, and doing yoga. And then I decided, I think I want to get into therapy because I've been doing it for free since I was 7, so I might as well. It was kind of what I used to do at school.
Yeah.
Walk around the oval with one friend at a time.
Speak to them, being in the comfort
to
zone.
Their problems, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's actually beautiful. So listen and give advice, or just listen.
Well, that's the tricky bit. As therapists, the advice-giving thing is tempting, but it's not really the point. You know, you're trying to help someone awaken what we call their inner therapist.
Yeah.
Who's available 24/7, knows everything about everything to do with them, and is free.
Okay, so let's talk about something that not a lot of people know, and when we talk about it, they think that it's just lie on a couch, speak up. I'll be writing some notes.
Oh, wow.
And what is mental health? That's a very big terminology, but what is actually mental health? Like a lot of people and so I apologize for my ignorance, but a lot of people would perceive mental health as what I just said, and when they think about meditation, which is I'm gonna do this and just think about nothing, and people actually don't take it seriously until they actually try it. So let's talk about mental health.
Sure.
What is mental health and how does it affect people in the workplace?
Absolutely. Have you ever tried to think about nothing? Has that ever worked
I'm a man.
for you?
I always think about nothing. Men always think about
Not
nothing.
the content of nothing. That is like an evaluation, but like clear the mind.
I can't.
It's really hard.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I'm an overthinker in a great way.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have to sleep with white noise. And not a lot of people know that.
Yeah.
Because my brain doesn't shut off. And I just play white noise and I sleep. And my wife hates it. But it's the only way that I will sleep.
Yeah, well, it works on your nervous system.
Yeah.
So it's that ASMR, right?
Yes.
Yes, cool.
Yes.
Okay, mental health's a big topic. I think when a lot of people say mental health, what they're really referring to is mental illness. You know, it's become like a synonym for mental illness, right? So when we say mental health, you can't just have mental health. We're a multi-dimensional being, right? So mental, physical, emotional, social and communal, spiritual.
Okay.
All together, all the time, all at once.
Okay.
You know, there's no pulling bits apart. Every single one of those healths affects every single other one of those healths.
Okay.
And so I think that's the way the field is really moving, that it can't just be... Otherwise, you would just read one great book, right? You've read self-help books, right? Maybe one or twice?
Yeah,
Once or
not
twice.
that much.
But you'd read like a great one, and if your mind could solve everything for you, it would do it. So I think a lot of people, when they go to work on their mental health, they often come in under the illusion that they just have to figure something out.
Yeah.
Or they have to be smarter somehow and understand. And insight and understanding is important, but it's not really enough. Otherwise, we just read that one great book and we'd be done.
Yes.
Yeah. It doesn't really work like that because we're born feeling.
Yeah.
We're not born thinking. Have you thought about that?
Yeah.
Like when we're born, we have no mind.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's pure feelings until you can start understanding and feeling emotions and understanding this is an object that now I can think that I need to move this. But when you're...
Well, language.
Yeah.
Until you have language, even this is just an object I'm relating with through my senses, right? But then when you go cup, when you're baby.
Yeah.
And you've got kids?
Yes.
How
I have a 2-year-old girl.
So she's right in this process now.
Exactly.
So she's looking at things and going, cup. And then everyone around her is losing their minds with joy every time she does it.
Exactly.
And
true.
that's being reinforced.
Yeah.
And it's a new thing. She's getting language.
Mm-hmm.
And this is an amazing thing. This is what happens to us. And what we start to do is we start to leave the world of just being aware and feeling what we feel and letting emotions come and go that she's really good at now, right?
Yeah.
She doesn't hold on to things with a story.
True.
And over the next 4 to 5 years, she'll develop this ability to live in her head.
Yeah.
But we want to protect kids' ability to be present, you know,
Yeah.
and that's what we all try to come back to. It's called mindfulness. I think I went off your topic a bit.
No, but that's actually very deep. That's actually very deep. Okay, going back to mental health and trying to link it to the corporate world. So basically, we talk about a lot about the corporate world, even entrepreneurs with their small businesses or managers, C-level, D-level, when they have big teams and when we talk about corporate world, a lot of the employees, when we look at employees from their own perspective, which is, I'm a corporate slave, they don't care about me, and they go into that dark zone of, I'm not happy. But no one can get out of them. When we ask them, like, why aren't you happy? They just like, the pay is not good. The pressure. They don't have a clear, why are you not happy? They just think about different things at the same time, but he wants to believe that he's not happy. When you look at the managers on the other side, it's like a tick box. No, we give them good salaries. We try to make work-life balance, which is, I don't believe in work-life balance.
Me either.
I don't believe in that word at all.
Me either.
But how can we speak the language of both? How can we put them all together? That what can you do to help them? And what can you do to be happy?
Yeah.
How can we start thinking about that?
It's all focused on culture.
Okay.
So, you know, there's that famous saying by Drucker, you know, that culture eats strategy for breakfast that everyone knows. Yeah. So this is so true. Like when you think about us thriving, which doesn't necessarily mean we're happy all the time. I think this is a really key thing to focus on. There's two different types. Well, the ancient Greeks talked about two different types of happiness, right? They talked about hedonia, which is like the hedonistic feel-good happiness, right? And then they talked about what they called eudaimonia, which is the happiness we get from purpose and meaning. Now, sometimes we don't feel happy. For example, we're stressed out, we're working on a big project. We don't feel necessarily high or good, but it feels good in this sort of eudaimonic way because we're aligning with our values, we're working on something important to us, we're connected with the people we work with. Now, in companies that attend, which is very difficult to do, it's not simple, but companies that attend to their culture, to make their culture aligned with the core set of values that are operationalized at every level so that the employees feel like they're really part of something, those are the places where people will be well.
Thrive.
And that doesn't necessarily mean they'll always be happy, you know, but I think there's quite a lot of reticence to deal with culture, especially in places like Dubai where we're so multicultural and it gets really complex.
Yeah.
And then multi-generational as well. And that gets really complex. And so, culture. That's what we try and do. We try and infiltrate culture and we try and use the principles from mental and emotional health, embodiment practices, all the stuff that research is tracking about how human beings function. And we try to help companies embed those principles within their day-to-day culture to improve their overall well-being.
So when we talk about that, give me an example.
Okay.
I come to you as a manager or as someone from HR or someone from, I don't know, someone responsible for the culture and well-being of the employees. And then I'll tell you, do we have gap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Or we would come back and come and tell you, can you assess the current situation? And then you would come up with a program? Or how does it work?
Yeah, definitely. First thing we do is listen. It's just like in a therapy session, right? So we go in, we try and understand what this culture is, who the company is, what their values are. We listen to all the key people. Okay. What are they noticing? What are they experiencing? What are the key challenges? What are they trying to solve for? What are the core things people are saying? We do surveys. We run, some assessment, and we compile all that. And based on that, and some interviews with different focus groups, we come in with sort of an initial way we might start to infiltrate the culture.
Okay.
We definitely don't want to come in as some kind of well-being, mental health experts to be wheeled in on a Wednesday to deliver some kind of expertise from on high and then wheeled off. This is how a lot of it gets done. It's not effective. It's a bit of a waste of time and money.
And people actually, when they look at that, it was like, what is this? How am I supposed to benefit from this? Because it's a one-time thing. And when I consult and I speak to my clients when it comes to training, and I tell them, by the way, I can throw one big rock in a lake and just do one wave.
Yeah.
Or I can use very small puddles and
that's it.
With stone after stone after stone after stone, I'll just make bigger waves and bigger waves and bigger waves. So it cannot be a one-time thing.
Yeah, that's
it has
exactly.
to be consistent.
Exactly it. Because incremental change over time, you know, you're turning around a large sailing ship. You're not turning around a speedboat, right, with culture. So you've got to chip away at it and you have to iterate, you know, it's design thinking. So you've got to do a thing, get a feedback, learn a thing. You know, change. You've got to be flexible. So we do things across several buckets, right? So like I said about the different type of healths. So we have embodiment program. This includes everything from yoga to breath work to sound healing to all the non-verbal things, massage therapy, everything that sort of goes after the body, the nervous system, training on the nervous system, polyvagal health, all that stuff, right? Then we have what we call psychological literacy. So that's training people in raising their vocab about understanding their psychological selves, right? Psychological first aid, that sort of stuff. Then we have culture, and that's the interpersonal relating skills. So that's a lot of skill building in that one. So it's like role plays, dealing with conflict. How do you find yourself? How do you operationalize your values? What are the values? What does that even mean? How do you make them come alive and not just being a poster on the wall? You know, what does it mean to you and you? Cultural competency training, inclusivity, understanding each other's backgrounds, lots and lots of things like that. So as you can see across that sort of range, we develop activities. We have this like a menu. You know, and then dependent on the company's culture, they might go, so we'll have sound healing every Tuesday and then we'll bring you in for a workshop there and then we might meet in the park and do a stretch, and that might be actually very low cost investment to start with, but it might be the first pebble. That's good. So like you're saying, just see. It's kind of, we're aligned. That's what we do too.
Okay, story time. Success stories. So when we talk about that, give me one project, without mentioning names, just one project where, what was the challenge, what activities did you do, and what was the feedback of people?
Okay.
Something that's dear to your heart. So I was like, this is my success story. This is my legacy.
Yeah, I have one really dear to my heart. So a few years ago, I worked with an architectural firm. They're a brilliant group of people. And they're young, innovative. They're winner of lots of awards. And the challenge was to support their culture, to, you know, stay really well and healthy and creative amongst a culture of high competition, lot of deadlines, multiple stakeholders. Like you can imagine, they're designing for these clients, these big corporate clients. They're doing these big, expensive projects, and they're multicultural young team of designers. So designers and artistic people tend to be very in touch with their emotions, very in touch with their bodies. So this was a really nice challenge. So what we did is, over a year, I was in there every 2 weeks. And we just built this. We sort of would layer and build. So we went through everything, all those buckets that I said before. Different. So there, you're kind of hitting all of the team in some way, and then facilitating group discussions about these values, and doing little off-site things every now and then. And over the span of that year, they started really handling their stress better, coming together, working, you know, more collegiately, and then they ended up winning a mental health award for the industry.
Beautiful.
So I was really proud of that, and they're awesome. And we still do work with them.
Beautiful. Can you prove, how do I put it in context? For all the skepticals, companies that say, by the way, I'm not spending money on yoga. Or breathing exercises, because actually it happened to me before. So story time from my side. We got a request. I went to the client and he was like, people brought us down. I was like, okay, why do you think it's down? And I was like, I don't know, you investigate. I was like, okay, let's investigate. And then people said there's no empathy, KPIs are KPIs. People don't see it from our perspective. Even when we tell them that the load there's so much load, and they start giving me why in our discovery. And I went back to him and I was like, this is the reason. It's not the pay. It's not. It's the culture. It's the load, the KPIs. Some managers are not fair. And I gave him everything. I was like, my suggestion is we'll do series of well-being and exercises to make people at least get back to their values. And I was like, I'm not spending money on that.
Yeah.
I'm not spending money on that.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, now how can we change that perspective?
It's a really common one, right? Because of that, back to what we were saying about your little girl and being born feelers and being born aware but not having language, right? Language then dominates our experience, right? This is the world the mind built. And so we tend to get under this illusion that if we just go in and tell people things, if we just train them, if we just make them smarter about things, that'll somehow translate into them feeling better in the workplace, bringing more of their whole self, being more passionate, more committed, all of those things. But actually, for example, okay, if we're in therapy right now, and say the therapy was going really super well, you were sitting there with me and we're talking away and you were thinking, this therapy is great, it's working. What would be happening? What's actually working? Do you think? It's not a trick question.
My problem is being solved. I'm feeling good about myself, and I came in with doubts or I came in with problems.
Okay.
We spoke about them, and then you open my eyes on, I don't want to say the solution, but you open my eyes on what is the problem. Okay. And then how can I solve it, but it's coming from me, not from you.
Okay.
And what's going to happen next is when I feel good about myself, I'll be performing better, I'll be having better health, better life, and word of mouth. I'll start telling people about it.
Sure.
This is what I believe.
So what you're describing is very much a part of good, successful therapy. It's called coherence.
Okay.
It's where your mind has come in and you've been fixated on a problem, and through us exploring it together, stepping out of your life for an hour, exploring it together, you've gotten some understanding, some insight, right? And that feels really good. People are currently getting that from ChatGPT and feeling good for about an hour or two and then not feeling great again, right? There has to be more. And so what is that more? Right? And this is where you really start to take off, and you can do this with groups as well, and this might help you sell yoga into companies too, because once they get this. So if we're sitting here together right now and we've solved some of your problems and it's our 4th session and you understand, you've now made a better theory of you're understanding things, but what actually makes therapy feel really therapeutic, where it continues working on you after you leave, is that when you walk in and sit down, your nervous system is, say, doing this. My job as a therapist is to anchor my nervous system in what we call down-regulated, right? So I am anchored and calm. And over the hour, whether our minds are agreeing or not, or no matter what we're saying, my nervous system is talking to your nervous system and your nervous system, and we do what's called co-regulate. Now, when you can co-regulate in the workplace in a group way, is when you get a group of people, you get a few things. You get a contagion. You get a thing called collective effervescence. Isn't that a cool term? Collective effervescence, right? Where people start to feel good.
I don't understand what
together.
does it mean, to be honest. I have no idea what it means.
Well, collective, and then effervescence, when people start feeling uplifted.
Okay.
So when you get say people doing a group yoga, this is what's going on. All the nervous systems are starting to co-regulate together.
Okay.
And this is a really powerful feeling. But if you're having it in the workplace, that person's nervous system now starts to recognize the workplace as a place they downregulate, has nothing to do with this. They can walk in going, my workplace is great, whatever, or my workplace is bad. But if you're bringing those activities into the workplace and downregulating people where they work, you're teaching them their capacity for doing that on an actual learning level. It's the only place you actually learn is the nervous system. You see that with your daughter. That's through our whole life.
Yeah.
Verbal learning is an illusion. We collect information. We learn on the nervous system. So they're now programmed to feel that in the place they work. That's huge. That's a shift. You can measure it, right? So you go in, you do outcome measures, you'd look at surveys, you'd be able to track it over time. And then you'd look at it, how's this affecting, say, presenteeism? Not even absenteeism, presenteeism. Like how much are they showing up with their whole self? The research is quite clear that when people are engaged like that, that goes up. Then if you can start bringing in activities around social responsibility, the research on that's really clear. That's as good, that is as effective as an antidepressant.
Wow.
When they're engaging in group causes, again, that collective effervescence. So there's just so much you can do in the workplace that's nonverbal and really effective, because you get past people's biases that way, because you're talking to their nervous system.
Where do we start? So organizations, where do they start?
Where do they start? Well, they start by really understanding themselves. I think you've got to start with that coherence. Who are we? What do we want? What do we care about? And what's going on? And then you get somebody from outside to come in, because they have more objective eyes.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we see what we want to see and we don't see what we don't want to see. It's very natural. So you partner, you bring someone in, they look at it, and then you just, I think slow and steady is the way to go. You don't come in with a big move all at once, because you get people's resistance. You start, like you said, with the pebbles.
Yeah.
You start to chip away at it over time, and you course correct as you go.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I love
Beautiful.
it.
Okay.
So fun.
So again, back to story time.
Okay. I thought I dodged that.
No, I need three stories from you.
Oh,
okay. So
okay.
I need a happy story.
Okay.
Something that when you reflect on, you start laughing in your career, in your personal life, but something that actually has meaning to you, that you learn something from.
Okay.
I need a sad story.
Oh.
Something, I don't want to say tragic, but it's a sad story, but also something that you learned from.
Okay.
Maybe something happened to one of your clients, but without mentioning name, of course. And I want something that you've learned from. So an incident or a situation that you've learned a lot from. Maybe from the start of your career, mid-career, now. Let's start with the fun one.
So happy one or funny one? Which
happy.
one?
Let's go happy.
Let's go happy. Okay. So when I was in Australia, I in 2002, so that's quite a while ago now.
Yeah.
I wanted to start an organic market in my hometown, Brisbane, and I wanted this farmers who were in the outskirts of the town who were making organic produce, but it was sort of a bit damaged, to come in and sell directly to families so they could afford this. And I had this lovely place to have it under the trees, and musician friends that would come in. And it started off as this very idealistic little hippie thing that was super fun. So put a lot of passion into this, started it up, and still going.
Till today. Wow.
And it hasn't been me for a long time. I stepped away from it and passed on to other people in like 2005, something like that. But it makes me really happy, because I like to start things. I'm not that attached to maybe it has to be me in charge of it forever, but I like to plant the seeds of things that maybe will, and what makes me most happy about it is it's brought a lot of people together. So sometimes I like to just sit there and think about, like, who's met their partner there?
Yeah.
Who's, like, what has happened there?
Yeah.
And that place wouldn't have existed. I mean, maybe another version of it would, but in this reality, that place wouldn't have existed if I hadn't have had that idea at my dining room table. And then the funny other bit of that story is that I had all these flyers. It was 2002. I printed all these flyers, right? And I left the date off of the opening, and it was going to be the 2nd of February 2002 was when it... Yeah. And so I had to go and get a stamp made, and it's like the universe wanted this date imprinted in my brain. I literally sat there stamping thousands of things with this date, right? And then, of course, what happened on the 2nd of February 2002, the day we opened...
It rained.
I met my husband.
Ooh.
And then we got married on the 2nd of February 2008. So it's like a triple happy thing.
Wow, that's a nice story.
Yeah.
That's a very nice story.
There you go.
Let's go now to something sad. So the sad story and the learning from it.
There have been a lot of sad moments in the last couple of years working as a therapist in this part of the world, I have to say. And I'm not going to go into details of that, but when things are sad but also awe-inspiring and very beautiful, my work has been full of that type of content for the last 15, 16 months. Oh. And I'm very lucky to have my job, because I get a front row let in to people's experiences. And that's amazing, and you learn so much as a person. But there's been so much tragic and sad And then, of course, across COVID as well, being a
Yeah.
therapist across COVID. So the 2020s are bringing a lot of that material, and you have to find a way to not drown in that. You've got to anchor. But there is, we live in a world that divides everything. Happy, sad, good, bad, sick, well. It's a problem in the world. We see that polarization, right? But when we think about getting out of happy, sad and getting into, the human condition containing all the feelings, there's beauty in sadness. We wouldn't have half the art, music and literature in our world if it wasn't for sad human feelings.
Yeah.
And so I've really been schooled a lot in that in the last couple of years. Yeah. I don't know if that qualifies as a story, but
You actually have a lot of those stories. That's why I feel it in you. I can sense it in your voice.
yeah.
Okay, so instead of the story now, I'm gonna ask you something different.
Okay.
How don't you allow it to affect you personally? So hearing all that, dealing with all that sadness, it must have affected you.
Yeah. You can't not let it affect you. It's part of the job. There are ways that you don't drown in it. There are ways that it's not about you, like it's not yours. But yeah, you have to, this is where we have to look after ourselves. We can't do anything alone, right? So for me, I have my friends, my support system. Professionally, I always have supervision. I have my team. Like, you can't do this stuff. We can't do anything alone. There's a myth of the self-made person, right?
Yeah.
It's always collective. But of course it affects you. It changes you. Being here in this part of the world especially, and being privileged to hear what we hear from people changes you forever. But that's a good thing.
Yeah. Experiences.
Yeah.
Okay. Last story is an incident that you've learned a lot from.
Every
Changed your
day.
perspective about something. Just an incident that happened. I was like, you know what? I was thinking about something this way, but it was supposed to be that way. Something like that.
Yeah, I guess the start of our company, I started the company by myself in 2018 as an experiment. It was called the Free Spirit Project. Because I thought I'd left kind of a traditional clinic, and I thought, what's the most hippie name I can think of? And it's like Free Spirit Project. And I thought I would just do a little bit of my own work, and then see what happens. And it just started to draw other people together, and we became a collective. In that process of going from tiny to medium-sized, we're about 40 now, and my partners, I have partners, it's not just me, running this. There's been just so many learnings. We've been schooled hard, like, on many things. And so it's been, I always say, it's like a free MBA, except it hasn't been free at all, but it's been like that sort of process, like having to grow and stretch across areas which I didn't know anything about before, and so it's been incredibly rich and a really important time, and exhausting. And also that's how you develop better ability to look after yourself, through going to these exhausting places. So I would say this has been probably one of the biggest journeys of my life is doing this. In Dubai, running a pro-social organisation in Dubai is not easy, because you've got to be commercially competitive. And
100%.
So those two things sometimes they contradict each other. And so that's a really interesting thing to try and problem solve.
Yeah.
But I couldn't do it. We've got an amazing team. So we're all like, it's a big think tank. It's not just me, so
Beautiful.
it's cool. Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, so before we end it, I just want a piece of advice from you.
Oh,
Just
okay.
one piece of advice for people out there, either in a corporate world, just going through hard times. Just give us one piece of advice. What would that be?
I would say stop and drop out of the mind. And if you really want to know what's going on, imagine that you've got this big volume knob and you're turning it off. So you stop focusing on what everyone's saying and just start looking at what everyone's doing and feeling what your body has to say about that. Like, start to tune into the wisdom of your body. The body doesn't speak in language like the mind does. It speaks in breath, it speaks in feeling. But when you learn to start to listen to that, the non-verbal world, it opens up a whole area of wisdom within you that the mind can drown out if you're too focused on that. So trust yourself, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Right, thank you so much for your time. It was
Thanks, Peter.
beautiful.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.